Welcome to Strange Tales from Outer Space, episode 34, right?
You know what? I'm surprised you made it through that without having to pant because you sprinted in here at last minute.
Yes, that is very true. My name is Doc, and as always, on a nice Sunday evening, I have with me Indigo and Krug. And
Whatever his name is.
you know what? I'm going to start off myself for the Strange Tales of this, or at least for how my week was, because mine was an event. So...
oh!
It's
true.
So first and foremost, I finally got myself a guild. I'm with Behalter and Avid Guru and Clover in the Final Frontier. A lot of really chill people. It's Entity Exile side. They have an attunement night on Tuesdays, and we knocked out 2 to 3 parts that I need for the future, because I just started attunement on my Spellslinger. So that was really cool, and they're really helpful about it. It's been a while since I actually did veteran anything, so I was really rusty. They have an attunement night on Tuesdays. It kind of sucked, but I had a whole week planned out. I was going to do the future All-Star stuff. I was just started attunement on my and then I'll make this quick because it's so big. That was really cool. My friend texted me, he goes, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday?" Since I actually did veteran anything, so Wild-Star stuff, video gaming, graphic design. He goes, "If it can fit in your schedule, I need you to come with me and a bunch of our friends out to Big Bear because I'm going to propose to my girlfriend." Now they've been together for 8 years. So I said, "No, of course. Just give me a time and a place. I'm down. I'm there." I said, "Yeah, Big Bear Lake, Saturday evening, and we're going to do that." Supposedly we have a double talking crap. But let me continue with that. So I don't think it's a big deal. It's not really raining or snowing in Big Bear in Orange County or LA. I checked the weather the night before. I had everything packed, and I said, "Hey, it's going to be snowing. You're going to want chains." Damn it. Okay, fair enough. I go spend the money for chains. I get up there. We're having a blast. It's a total... It was awesome. 40, 50 people in this tiny little cabin. She said yes, so they're engaged. We had a ton of fun. I had way too much to drink, but I have no hangover today, which is awesome. And now here's where the fun part begins. I left Big Bear Lake at noon. Today. I was supposed to be back home in 2.5 hours, take my time, leisurely do the show notes. I get to a point where it's a whiteout. I can't see more than 10 feet in front of me. They're mandatory to put on chains. I'm the only one in my car. It's just me. I have to put on chains by myself. It takes me an hour to put chains on my car, so I can't see my... Some asshole almost hit me. I've got fucking snow and dirt and grime on my clothes. I would wipe my face before we started the show. I just dirty. Finally got it on. Not even 10 minutes later, conditions are completely clear. So I have to pull out to the side and take off the chains of my car, throw it back in, and then some jerk ahead, and I'm going to be mean about this because he gets in an accident and almost goes off the edge. So now I'm sitting dead in a dead data zone. I can't even tell anybody from the show saying, "Hey, I'm going to be late," because I have no reception. I can't call anybody. I can't text anybody. I left at noon. I literally just got in my chair. 2 minutes, and we started the show.
Yeah, at 55, at 4:55, he was like, I got home. Give me a second.
I raced down here because I knew it was going to be like, I have to be here. It's our show. And it'd be weird if like one of us didn't really show up.
Well, I had actually a plan for that. And I mean, I knew there was a chance that you'd get here late.
Yeah.
And so my plan was to have this up.
What is this?
Oh, it's not happening. Man. Oh, super lame. No, I'll get it to work. Keep talking though.
No problem. So I'm literally wearing the same clothes that I had to like get down on the floor and get my chains on and get a fucking tire 3 feet from my face and just slosh shit all over me. I'm wet. I am dirty. I am busted tired now because of this, but I'm fucking here.
Dedication, everybody.
The best was him literally getting in, and he's like, "I have to turn the AC on." He turns the AC on. He's just like, can't even breathe. He's like, and I was like, "Oh, it's great because Krug can't hear us because the way we have pre-show set up, it just does. You can't do it." So I'm just laughing my ass off, and Krug's trying to like troubleshoot stuff, and I was like, "I'm enjoying this greatly. I'm just gonna sip from my water."
So Indigo, how was your week? I'm gonna finish eating because I'm hungry.
This is what I had, by the way.
So, which I can't. None of us can see until.
Yeah,
like,
you'll
a
see
minute
it.
from
You'll
now.
see it in the stream.
Yeah.
Pretend it's funny. Everybody will appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, that's cute. It's a rabbit. It's, aw,
He's
I
late
was
for a very
wondering.
important date. No time to say hello, goodbye. He's late. He's late. He's late.
Anyways, so my week was good. I continue to level my warrior slowly but surely. It's pretty funny. I'm getting really close to passing Krug. Just saying. Been doing a lot of website stuff, like a ton of stuff. Krug and I started a Let's Play that we're working on, and he's hopefully editing.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully that will be up sometime this week of Dying Light. Also streamed last Monday from some old RTS games, and yesterday streamed our very first Pathfinder Let's Play. I'm sorry. Pathfinder Let's Play? Pathfinder session. I really don't know what the proper use of it, what proper saying should be.
Session sounds good.
Yeah. Which was a blast. Oh my god, it was so much fun. There was tons of laughter. The chat was going crazy. They loved it as well.
Laughter mostly because the beginning of your campaign was basically a porno.
It was not even close to. Oh my god!
You wake up and you feel
missed
something
this.
metallic around your neck and your
Two of my
hands.
friends
Oh,
got-
you feel something rubbery in your mouth. Whoa, buddy! What?
Whoa,
What's
whoa.
happening?
First of all, it was not something rubbery in your mouth, and it was the casters that had something in their mouth. Because, anyways, not gonna
Yeah,
get
sure.
into that.
It's so they couldn't cast spells, quote unquote.
Anyways, that was still very, very hugely successful. It was really good, and there was a very, very funny post afterwards where someone, and by someone I mean Das Moose, took the overlay that we had and replaced the Q times symbol with the Brazzers logo.
Yep.
Because that was very funny.
Oh, and owlbear would be the safe word.
Yes,
that
so
they
there was
decided on
a
in chat,
safe word.
which I thought was hilarious.
Can't believe I missed that session.
Yeah,
Totally something worth doing.
We recorded it. It's 2 hours long. We're going to actually cut it down into either 30-minute chunks or hour chunks and release them slowly.
Good
So
times.
you'll see those coming out soon. But that was my week. Oh, and I just finished editing another podcast for a different website. So finally got that off my plate. So that was awesome.
What kind of podcast is it? I'm just curious.
It is for a website called the Tokusatsu Network, and it's about Tokusatsu television, which think Power Rangers, but like way, way, way newer and different.
Did they cover the new video that came out this week?
No, they didn't. And if I talk about it, they're going to be very, very upset.
Okay.
They weren't fans of it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if all of them were. I don't know all of them. But no. So I did that, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm going to start doing that for them once a month. But nice. it was really fun. What about you, Krug? It's your turn to tell us what you clearly didn't do anything exciting.
Wow, rude. So in game today, I was leveling and I was queuing up for adventures because I had the what's the adventure called? We have to kill the Skeech and not kill the Skeech, kill the Moody's, and you're on the Skeech's team. War of the Wilds. War of the Wilds. Thank you. So I was doing War of the Wilds today as a level 30 whatever. Way harder. I mean, it's not even on vet, but it's just like. I couldn't do it. But I was still getting top DPS in the group, which was a bad sign. So we didn't really do too hot. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to quest. And so I went questing, and my PvP flag is on, like always, just because I'm a PvP server guy at heart. So I just keep it on. And I got punished for that quite severely in the sense that I was trying to turn a quest in, and there were these Dominion effers just sitting around the quest guy going, come on, turn the quest. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they'll just let me turn in the quest. Nope, they didn't let me turn in the quest. And so I ran away, and I was just like, no, I'm going to run away. And they killed me. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to use my wake here, and maybe they'll just, like, calm down. And I walked up to the quest guy, and they let me get up to him. And then they just started attacking me again. I was like, So I died again, rezzed at the holocrypt, ran back. I switched into this spec that I made for my character, which is basically, like, all utility, like, basically escape and annoy people. And I was hoping that I could survive long enough to get away or to make them tired of it and have them leave. Nah, it didn't work at all. They just pursued me relentlessly for like 15 minutes, just, and I was
You
like,
sound like
Root,
we're having fun, though.
void slip. And they were just like, they'd stand there when I void slipped and waited for me to come out and then just chased me some more. It was the most obnoxious thing in the world. And so I decided, F that zone entirely. I'm going to go on to the next one. And so I went to the next zone and kept on leveling. So I didn't get any of your guys' names, but whoever you guys are, go fuck yourselves.
You enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, it was really fun. That was entirely sarcastic.
So by go fuck yourself, you mean, hey,
Do it
guys,
again.
you guys are pretty awesome. Can we hang out more?
Thanks. Thanks, Grace.
We're friends.
And the last thing is, today I'm the one live streaming this instead of Indigo. Indigo is normally the one that does it. It's horse crap. This is the dumbest methodology for live streaming a show that I've ever seen in my life. And I think it comes from like Indigo and I and Doc all having like entertainment backgrounds. Indigo and I are technicians and Doc performs, and we kind of wanted this to have a production value to it. And I don't think OBS is set up for that very well. So now I'm going to work really hard on fixing that problem because it is a pain in the butt. Oh my God. So that's my week and my next week.
Yeah, as long as you do everything, go Cinderella. That's what Chad says.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because like when I was explaining it to Krug's like, "You're doing it wrong."
Yeah.
No.
I'll admit,
there has to be
100%.
additional controls. No, there's got to be something. What would you say?
I was wrong.
OBS
100%
OBS is
wrong. 100%
it's
wrong.
simple, but if you
Yeah.
want to make it really quality, that's not its
Not,
strength.
especially with 3 different, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, technically 6 sources of content. It's a pain in the butt. And Skype isn't set up for it. It's just a huge pain. Anyways, they don't want to hear about
Let's
that.
move
They just
on
want to
the
watch
big
the show.
chunk. And let's move on to the next part, which is the strange tales of the week.
Woo-hoo.
Now, this week there's not a whole lot of news per se. It's a lot of discussion and a lot of interesting stuff going on. And actually, I'm going to skip the first bullet point and go to the second one because I think the second one has a lot of actual info on it. And that is the fact that the ARC ship has kind of gathered everything and has said, hey, it's not just the PvP drop that's coming up for Drop 5. It's got a ton of PvE content too. And we've already discussed the fact that whatever's coming out in Drop 5, some of it's going to actually come earlier, which we'll get a little bit on later on. But it's got a lot of PvP-centric stuff, getting stuff balanced out and everything like that. But Drop 5 supposedly has some of this rumored stuff, like you had a boss-in-a-box encounter, which will have supposedly multiple difficulties. Another new adventure. The contract system is supposed to actually be shown in Drop 5. More itemization changes to make the balance better. Possible new end zone. More new costumes. And if you're a big housing fan, maybe even guild housing. A lot of it's speculative. And nothing's really confirmed. But some of this stuff is definitely like, hey, big nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hint, hint. Look forward to this for Drop 5, not just all the PvP stuff. Now, there was a little bit of confusion in saying, oh, there was actually 2 boss-in-a-box encounters, which is just, a 20-man raid for just one boss. But it's supposed to be adaptable and have multiple difficulties for other people to go in and tackle it in case they can't tackle the other stuff. And did you guys ever get a chance to try the boss-in-the-box encounter on the PTR?
I did not know.
Nope.
No, I tried to, but I could not get to it. But I remember people telling me when it was on briefly that it was super, super alpha, and it was supposed to be in anticipation for Drop 5 or 6. Missing textures, mechanics were kind of mostly there. It was just supposed to be something just to kind of show some of the new content they have going on. And I know, Indigo's really looking forward to the PvP stuff that show up for Drop 5. But there's more to it than that. I kind of really want to see how they tie in this box-in-a-box encounter to make sense to the rest of the game instead of just saying, hey, random boss, go at it, kill it, here's loot.
Well, it's not that I'm not excited about PvE content. I mean, I'm definitely excited about having additional PvE content. My issue is that we are in such a ditch in the PvP realm of it all that having more PvP content updating, and again, we'll talk more about when they're planning on doing the next STOS, or sorry, doing the next PvP update. Sorry, I got my stuff mixed up. But it's just that I really just want a really, really, really like good PvP drop, just one that makes me excited. And again, I get it; they can't do a full like oh hey, here's an arena, and here is a new battlegrounds. Because I mean, that's not really a lot of content to wait 4 months for. So I totally get them adding PvE content. I just want a really really good PvP drop.
Well, some really cool stuff is happening, and finally we're getting contracts.
Ye-
Whatever
what-
contracts are.
Yeah, so because that hasn't been hinted at for like months.
Months. We've been talking about it, like, what is this? What is this? And I'm calling it. Especially since they are talking about it being PvP and PvE contracts. The PvP side will be some kind of bounty hunter style contract system.
I hope that I randomly get a contract to kill another player that is in the area, and I hope it's Krug so that I can go and kill him on a regular basis.
I know I don't think it'll be a specific player.
No, it needs to happen.
I think it's along the lines of, kill a specific number of warriors and collect their whatever, or do this kind of thing under this condition, or something like that. What would
Can I
really
really quickly just, I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about, but it has to be said. I think it's really disappointing that the people that listen to the podcast can't see how many times I give Indigo the finger. Makes fun of me like that. So I just want to point out, every time he says something about me and I don't butt in because he's in the middle of saying something important, just assume that I'm giving him the finger, because it always happens. Even if I am saying, like, Indigo, I hate you, I'm probably also giving him the finger. So just, like, add that to your imagination of what we're doing on the live stream, and it'll make the experience a whole lot better.
And
anyways,
showed up on Sunday nights, you can actually see it happen live in person.
Exactly.
And you can join in with the finger blowing.
Plug. What? I don't want to know what you meant by that.
I'm out.
That's not happening.
Wait,
Some of that stuff that he just mentioned is
going back. Okay, well, he's gone. I was gonna say what would be great for the contract system is if they did something along the lines of Star Wars Galaxies. Remember their bounty hunter system?
Nope.
no.
You hear about it?
This
Okay.
is very similar to
I never
last
played.
week where you mentioned a whole bunch of random stuff and we went, nah.
Did you guys?
We don't know what you're talking about. Explain. Educate us.
I'm
Educate us.
Not 100%. It's off the top of my head. But Star Wars Galaxies had a bounty hunter style system where you could literally put a bounty on a specific player's head. There were conditions to it. The player couldn't just duck out for the whole duration of the bounty. They had conditions to be followed and met. But it gave other players an incentive to look for this person. I would love to see that kind of system integrated into WildStar, especially with the contract system. The contract system can be a broad term, and if they're going to bring in a PvP aspect to it, having a contract to bring somebody in, whether it was a submission style, like you beat him in a duel almost, and you showed mercy, you collected a bounty alive, or dead, you kill him, and then you get credit for the kill. I think that would be totally interesting personally. And that make the contract system much more incentive and crazy.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to having this contract finally get a definition of what it means.
Yeah, explained. It's like the most teased thing about the game. Like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, and we've been working on contracts.
And you know what?
That's all you're going to say about it? Really? You're just working?
Yeah,
we don't know what it is yet. Why do we care that you're working on it? It could just be like a different license agreement for the game. What if that's what it is? What if it's just like, oh, we changed the EULA, that's the contract system, get it?
It could even be something, if it's another extension of the quest system, that's a wasted opportunity in my opinion. Just completely wasted.
We'll see what happens. Again, we've been speculating for a very, very long time on this. So.
Being teased for a very, very long time. So
That's what we like to do.
what are we going to do? They're making us.
Yeah, there's all sorts of rumors about extra zones. You might be getting a level 50 version of maybe the Hallian Ring or Levy and Bake. People really want to see those again. No one knows anything about the adventure that supposedly is coming. We don't know if the boss in a box is tied to a specific area or if it's own little standalone story. It's just a lot of stuff coming in Drop 5 as well as the PvP stuff. Now, the question I have for you is, the PvP stuff that we've been talking about, that they've been saying, hey, might show up a little later, or sooner, I should say, than Drop 5. Would you consider that part of the Drop 5 bundle? Or just something, just its own little thing? Hey, here's an update, here's PvP stuff, it's here. And then a month later, here's Drop 5.
I have a very strong opinion, so Krug, you go first.
My opinion matches yours, and you're going to say it more eloquently, so knock yourself out, buddy.
I'm I'm gonna laugh when I explain mine, and you're like, "No, fuck him."
I'm 90% sure I know what your opinion is. Anyways, let's see what happens.
My opinion is that this is a patch. This is not a drop.
Yeah.
This is things that should have been fixed a long time ago, and that they're now just getting around to actually fixing the problem. And so now they're going to do it before the drop happens, which is, again, smart. And it's a patch. It's not a drop. It doesn't
count. So you
count.
wouldn't consider it part as the drop 5 experience?
No, not at all.
A necessary addition, but
it's a patch. They're fixing a problem. You wouldn't consider a hot fix a part of the drop, would you?
Well, it's not so much a hot fix. They're changing stuff. They're changing mechanics. They're changing your barrier of entry. It's a little more than a fix.
It is a huge fix. It is a fix that has been plaguing the entire game for a very long time. That's the problem, is that it's been a part of the game for so long and has been an issue and a part of the decline of the game. Not the entire game, but the population, I should say.
It's been a significant
This is a
part.
fix. This is a hot fix that should have happened a long time ago, that because they have just now put time travel in charge of PvP, time travel is like, hey, I got the power to do this. Let's do it. Boom. Now. Done. Next. Boom. Done. Next. All right, let's do this. You know, which is what he was doing when he was over on the... Oh, I mean, he still is on PvE, but that's what he was doing over in PvE. He was getting shit done. He was fixing problems. He was moving along, chugging along. Not the same thing.
Okay, I just didn't know if you guys would consider it part of the banner of Drop 5 or not.
Nah. No.
No. It's, I mean, Indigo said it. It's a dire problem that needs an emergency fix. I think showing that they're willing to do that kind of update in like a hot fix is going to go a long way to show the community that, hey, guess what? We're actually serious about getting this shit fixed. So we're gonna do it
and
now.
not just waiting.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want them to like throw out changes that are going to mess up Drop 5 because they haven't been tested or whatever. Like, I don't know what their QA process is like now, but getting that stuff done as quickly as possible, as good as it can possibly be done, is very important for them. And I think they know that. I'm pretty sure they kind of feel that the same way we do.
And backtracking just a little bit back to the contract system, I just thought of something that would be, I really hope comes into contracts. Varying degrees of difficulty. They've already said that with the boss in a box. Oh, you're going to have the ability to tackle it with an X amount of people or a different stage of difficulty. What if they had multiple settings of contracts? Let me elaborate. Say you get PvP contracts. You've got 4 contracts, and they have actual difficulties to them. Like, say, contract 1. It's not much different than a daily quest. Just win 2 things of Alti Tipple. Contract 2. Personally grab 4 flags within this, or carry the bomb twice and let it detonate twice. And then level 3 is harder. You have 72 hours. You need to kill and collect dog tags from like 20 medics. Just having more and more difficult challenges and contracts that the payoff is bigger, but you've got to be willing to dedicate it to.
I'm honestly picturing the Call of Duty call tag, like the a dog tag game where you shoot someone and their dog tags are just like floating there, and I just imagine you just like running around as a spell slinger and just like choo 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 choo, and you kill them and their dog tags are there, but someone else comes by and picks it up and you're like, you're a bastard, and they get the point for it and you're like, oh.
Or then the contract where it's like backstabber, kill.
And then you see me turning around, shaking my fist, like, that's what you get for being ranged and not melee.
What I really wanted contracts to be is like, if somebody ganks you, you can pay like 5 gold to the game, and then somebody else gets a contract, and then if they like kill that person, it like shows you a video of them getting killed, and
oh my god,
and pays them the 5 gold or whatever, like however much money you want to put on it.
Like I want to hit on this man. I want bounty hunter contracts.
If that happens, Krug's character is Krug QT. I'm just saying.
I'm really glad that you said that, because that's not my character's name.
Krug space STOS.
Just saying. Contract system. There might be some platinum involved for the head of one of the 3 of us.
It could be the fix for the Nemesis system. Remember that? Or is that what it's called?
Yeah, the enemy system. Yeah, that one was kind of weirdly
I don't know what it's called because I don't use it anymore because it's so dumb. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Let's move on to some of the other cool community stuff going on this week.
We talked about that.
How about Thayfest 2?
Woo!
Crew, could you post that link in chat? Because I can't, because I am not a moderator in our own chat.
That's really silly of you. ThadeFest 2. I will post this.
What is ThadeFest 2? Right. According to their posts, it's the biggest, baddest, most awesome event the server's seen yet. It's a day full of awesome, and it's a chance for everybody to kind of show their spirit for the game and hang out with their friends. The Black Dagger Society is hosting this. Other guilds are also jumping in on it. They're just the biggest name that are attached to it. They're going to be doing special broadcasts by Quantum State Radio, which is kind of cool. I need to listen to them. I've never really heard them before, so I'm in. They're going to do stuff like contests, races, raffles, role-playing contests. They're going to have a party for it. It's just a whole ton of stuff, and what they're gonna plan on doing is ThadeFest 2, the second, starts at 10 a.m. Pacific on Sunday, March 15th, and will end at 4 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, March 15th. So it's just a nice big morning afternoon thing.
Sure.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of different stuff in there. They've got housing contests. They have hourly raffles. They have a PvP tournament. They have races that they're doing. Like, it is a huge thing. Like, it is okay. And you guys may yell at me, but this right here, this event by itself, not being sponsored by WildStar whatsoever, fucking blows my mind. Like, this is so crazy of an event that I'm so excited that it's happening. Like, it's so cool.
And a lot of these prizes for these things are going to be big. They have a fashion costume contest. They have a lore trivia contest. Some of the prizes are cred, like legit cred.
Yeah,
for entering and winning.
That's real money.
Someone spent real money on it. But hey, a free month of game time for being a lore nerd, I'm in. And then looks like Blazing Saddles is doing the Thade Fight Club for ThadeFest. So something like we were talking about, which we're still in the stages of planning. They're going to do this like a 1v1 kind of duel. And they're going to put more prizes in on that and how to participate. Just a ton of really cool stuff. I didn't get a chance to go to ThadeFest 1. It looks like ThadeFest 1 went over really well as far as I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember having or hearing any like huge organizational problems with their events ever, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Black Dagger Society has a ton of respect in the game, and even a little outside. They've always been really courteous and professional, and their guild mates have always been really cool. I've met a few of them just playing around in the game. It's really nice people putting on an awesome thing. So if you get a chance, Sunday, March 15th, 2015, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific, ThadeFest 2, the second.
Second? Is that the fourth?
It's ThadeFest 2, and then I added a tagline on our notes, the second coming.
Boogaloo, I don't know.
No. The Electric Boogaloo was something else, which we'll talk about later on.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a Reddit thread for ThadeFest the second. Is this a Reddit thread for ThadeFest the second? No, it's not. I lied. Just kidding. Let's move on. Pretend I didn't say anything.
That was something
Our show notes are silly. Indigo is disappointed, but I don't care. You're not my daddy. Get over it.
Okay.
Are you sure?
No.
Oh, that'd be weird.
Gonna pray though.
That's a lot of questions you gotta ask certain people. So, this next one I have an opinion on, and this is a discussion more than a note piece.
Yes, that is why I put it on here. It is not anything real. I just thought it was a good thing to talk about.
Okay, then you spearhead this, because this kind of irritates me.
Okay, so it was a post that actually came out yesterday, and it already filled up 3 pages very quickly on
4 pages now.
4 pages, I'm sorry, on the forums. And it was the removal of faction barriers, allowing both Dominion and Exiles to group together in both dungeons, PvP, able to group together in quests together. And so I know we each have our own opinions and feelings about this, and I brought this up because I'm very, very excited to hear what your opinions are about this.
Oh, well,
I will point out before we get to our opinions that this is very similar to a conversation we've already had on the show before, but it's not the same. We've talked about removing faction barriers in PvP before, and that is like a conversation that kind of fits into this one. But this is more overarching. This is removing faction barriers for everything
in general
that isn't open world. Like,
yes.
That isn't like, you know, Dominion people can't talk to NPCs in Thade. Like, I think that's outside of the spectrum of this conversation. But everything else, like grouping and friending and all that other stuff, talking in game, all of that is included in this conversation.
Yeah.
Agreed?
And the conversation we had before was about PvP, and if I'm correct, we all agreed that PvP grouping made sense if it was all one faction versus all one faction.
Yes.
Not mix and match, so that it's not 4 exiles and
there was a
6 Dominion. Yeah.
It was a really, really weird discussion that people were saying, you should mix and match this. No, choose same faction battlegrounds, not mix and match. Whatever.
Yeah. So that, since we've gone over that conversation, Doc, I know you are very passionate about this. What is your opinion about faction?
Well, gentlemen in chat and listener, cover your ears for a moment, because I'm going to be quite frank here. It's fucking stupid as fucking shit. The reason why I say that is this game purely, obviously and honestly has a faction system set in place. It's got a lore that backs it up. It has races that back it up. By the logic of this game, there is no feasible way that these players, these characters, would even want to team up. Yes, we are the little special snowflakes in this game world, but that doesn't matter. That if once you get rid of that barrier, which it does occasionally seem arbitrary, and sometimes in lore that might team up. You know, we got to defeat so and so or something, or work toward the better good. They're there for a reason. The only time I would be totally cool with the evil and the good characters coming together is games that never had factions, or at least these banner factions to begin with, where they only really had an alignment system that separated them. Case in point being EverQuest. You could sit there and do dungeons, kind of, with neutral evil-ish characters and neutral good-ish characters, and you only really had big exceptions for the far side of the spectrum. If you were able to dedicate the time, you could cross-pollinate with the different groups, the different factions, and everything else. So you could have a dark elf leveling with a wood elf and a high elf. The game was to a degree okay with that. It wasn't a huge deal. But since then, most of these games have had a set faction, because their rules and the logic and the lore of the game needed it for pacing, for content. So that's my opinion on it. I think that I don't believe it should happen, because there's just nothing to back it up.
Okay. Krug?
I'm going to take a similarly passionate stance and say that I personally don't get immersed in MMOs. I don't get immersed in the lore. I don't get immersed in the story. And while it's interesting and I like learning those things, and it's like... I'm going to take that back. I do get immersed sometimes. I jump in and then I listen to the cutscene or read the thing, and it's immersive. And then I jump back out again to event chat where I'm listening to my friends talk about how my feet smell. This kind of genre, I don't think lends itself to that level of immersion. So I don't really see a need to justify anything. I think that if I could group up with a Dominion player, it wouldn't ruin the game for me. What does ruin the game for me is not having people to group up with, or like in the situation with some of our friends that we've met through the show that haven't been on the same faction as us. It's been a problem trying to play with them, and we've had to re-roll characters. And I think the sacrifice of that level of immersion, or the thing that leads to that level of immersion is nothing compared to gaining more people. The people are the important thing to me. And I know that we've said a lot, and that other people have said a lot, and I even think Wildstar has said before that most people statistically play MMOs by themselves, or treat it as a single player game. I can't believe that. There's no way I'm going to ever believe that. That sounds absurd to me. And from my perspective, as somebody who plays exclusively with other people, I would love to be able to group with anyone I wanted, whenever I wanted.
Interesting.
It's a logistical problem. In the open world, if you wanted to do it, it would be kind of weird, but I'm sure they could figure out a way to do it.
So my stance on this entire thing is that I agree with Doc. While lore-wise, it doesn't make sense why they would ever group up together. I also stand by the stance that cross faction in a new MMO title with no sort of background on it, having two different factions isn't necessary. And as we do have population issues, it is possible that if there was never two factions, that a lot of the community would still be here. I agree with Doc in the sense that we're past that point, and that adding the queuing in, adding grouping or communicating with cross faction doesn't make sense anymore. We've surpassed that point. Open PvP, while it's already dead now, it would actually physically not exist anymore if I could group up with any single person that's out there and do a quest or do a dungeon with them. Open world PvP doesn't exist. But again, I still go back to the thing where it wasn't necessary having two different factions. You could have legitimately made the Dominion the big bad guy, or made the Exiles the big bad guy, and had one single faction that fought everyone. But again, it's too late. It's too late now.
It's not. I wouldn't have any problem for them to just turn around and go, all right, guys, we're enabling cross-faction dungeons. That's it. No justification, no nothing.
How do you,
it would not bother me a bit.
How do you progress from there where, say, okay, you're saying from X time on to the future, we're going to enable cross-faction grouping for dungeons and raids. And I know someone made the point in chat saying, hey, isn't this very similar to the Horde and Alliance with the Lich King? It's a tenuous alliance at best, and you're working together to defeat the big bad enemy. That's very true. We have the Entity. We have other possible future enemies that are going to unite us together that make us a tenuous alliance at best. But in those same games, you didn't cross-pollinate because the hatred in the game just said, look, that's just the case. You're going to work together and work as a group to kill the guy, but you're on your own separate paths. And that's, I think Indigo's incredibly right. Having that two-faction system in the first place kind of paints you into this corner where you're like, well, shit, now we didn't end up going the route we really wanted to go. Our player base is asking for something to help us keep keep the experience going. But what happens in the future when we want to separate them again? We're going to have backlash from this and that. It's the problem with having two factions only to begin with. And there are other games coming out that are doing away with that, or they're making their factions very loose. They're keeping back. They're going, like Crowfall would be the current one. If you look at the way they're structuring their characters, it's all based on player-made factions or pure alignment, where you can literally have, the whatever they're going to end up calling the big tanky bruiser, who's a technically evil character, can still group with the healer mage style character that's an actual, like, alignment-wise really, really good until they go into, like, the faction PvP worlds, whatever. The reason why I'm so passionate about it is because now they've set the rules. If you set the rules and then break the rules completely, when you have to put those rules back in any way, shape, or form, your community is going to look at you and go, what the fuck are you guys doing? Not just Carbine, but in general. Like, if you told somebody, these are the rules, and now we're going to make an exception because, for whatever reason, now we're going to reinforce the rules, you're going to look at them and go,
What makes you think they're going to want to rebuild those rules once they remove them? Like, you think once it gets to a certain size that they're going to be like, oh, now there's enough people to separate this into two factions?
No, what he's saying is now they built the rules, which is there are two different factions. Breaking those rules in the first place doesn't make sense.
What I heard is that breaking the rules and then trying to put them back is going to cause problems. Breaking the rules isn't going to cause problems if people actually want this to happen. People are going to be like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what we wanted. Thank you. And yeah, there's going to be some backlash from people who didn't want it to happen in the first place, but I think it's fair to say that it's possible to have a majority of people who want this. What Doc is saying that is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, is that if you set these rules of we have these two separate factions and then say, okay, now they can play together, and then want to turn around for some reason and say, okay, now you can't play together anymore, that'll cause problems?
It's when you try to advance the story and the storyteller is saying, well, this is where the story's going. They need to be enemies again. Then the people that are doing the mechanics of the game going, but we just let them become essential allies, or some of them were defectors or something. Now we have to tell them we're going to put an arbitrary thing again just to block you off because this is where the story is going. That's going to create problems. And yeah, in exercise, if they take down those barriers, Eclipse is actually in our channel. He's like, he's right. Look, doubt the community's going to be upset about that when people have people to play with. That's a fair point. But then at the same time, the storytelling of the game will take a hit for it because this is what it was based on. This is also an assumption, which is why it's my opinion on it. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, I don't think it'll cause any problems. I think people will just be like, oh, hey, I get to have more friends, and then make more friends. And honestly, like, it's stuff like this that's really confusing to me. The chat thing where you can't read other factions' chats as though they're two separate languages, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
That is purely because of players. Communities have learned, as they've gone from game to game, and developers have learned, and they've gone from game to game, if you have any kind of PvP or player versus player action, there is a big enough vocal minority that will absolutely destroy that gaming experience for everybody because they cannot understand what it's like to talk to a human being. The biggest case in point is we're going to go back to WoW. When they introduced World of Warcraft, the undead could talk like humans. So when they talked in all chat when they're in PvP, anyone who spoke common could understand what they're saying. And they would abuse the shit out of it. And when the Alliance knew that the undead can talk like that, back to them, they did the same thing. The vitriol and the ridiculousness they talked to her was so bad that Blizzard had to completely obliterate that. And other games had learned that as well. Because Blizzard was like, oh, no, they're mature, they can handle it. Oh, no, they can't. Oh, no, we can't. We will abuse that right. And so now you have people that have add-ons. And yes, our experiences with the translator add-on has been really good.
Yes.
But I can also say in WildStar, I've met a few people where I just turn translator off. I'd rather see the gibberish. I'm not going to deal with that bullshit.
Okay. Okay, it should at least be a setting, like a PvP flag. Like in the little PvP flag section, you can just be like, enable shit talking, and then it'll be like, fuck you. Are you sure you want to hear this, bitch? And it'll be like,
I have nothing against shit talk. You can shit talk someone and have fun. People do it when they play Smash Brothers. People can do it when they play PvP. When we play PvP and we're streaming it, or like Baz and I had our little thing, we can shit talk and be totally cool about it. But the reason why they had this issue in the first place was that there was a fringe that wouldn't just shit talk. We're talking like hardcore, like verbal abuse.
Apparently, it works in SWTOR, from what chat's saying.
Oh, I've never used it in SWTOR. That's pretty cool. Just random thought.
I agree that people are silly, and that's why the ignore feature exists, and that's why I think the like mute cross-faction button should maybe persist, but by default it should be off, and you should be able to hear everyone's everything. I don't think that, and lore-wise, doesn't make a lick of sense to me at all, because it seems like they all speak the same language. Yes. I don't understand that. They all speak English, which also doesn't make sense.
They speak a form of common. We are only viewing it through the terms of English because we're all English speakers. Mm-hmm. But in World of Warcraft, they speak common, which is actually not. Never mind. That's all lore stuff. D&D has the same thing. You're not speaking English in D&D. You're actually speaking fucking Draconian. But for intents and purposes, if you don't understand the game, you are speaking in you're speaking in English. Klingons and Klingonese and Vulcans and whatever else.
You can stop now. So from what I guess is we're mixed bag on this actual topic. Is yes. Krug is one way, you're the other, and I'm in the middle. All right, mommy and daddy, stop fighting, and let's move to the next thing.
Hey, that's what we're doing today, right?
Yeah. Fighting, being mommies and daddies.
Here's another update. We got a third Avisis going down.
Yes, we do.
Who took him down this time? I don't remember.
If you click on that link, it will tell you.
No one put in chat because we're great people.
I can't put it in chat.
I'm going to put it in chat right now.
Eugenified. Eugenified is Avitus number 3 out of the entire game. So congratulations, everybody Eugenified, sincerely, because it's really cool to watch this progress happen.
I want to tell you, I really love that in this photo that Doc posted in the chat, they left all of the items that dropped out, and then they posed for their photos. So that they can say and you've got these like it's like no, loot that shit first. Loot it.
Clean up your area first.
Just showing off their stupid OP loot.
The next, speaking of Avitus drop, Enigma actually, who did the first Avitus drop, actually posted their videos of all of their drops of Avitus. So you're able to see them go through the 40-man and the 20-man. The 40-man is they've got one with a spell slinger, one with an engineer. They have one that's mix and match between, and then the 20-man they have it with the POV of a spell slinger. So someone will post that in chat as well.
That is it.
Awesome. So you guys can see that, which is really cool. They did an amazing job. It's so perfect. I love it. I thought that was really awesome. Oh no, what is happening?
What is this? I have not seen this yet. The Lore Whore Challenge.
Yeah, I put that on there very specifically for you.
I'm going to read this verbatim.
Not because you're into lore, but it's because you're a whore.
Excuse me.
Oh, wow.
Mythics Gamer says...
I'm just going to put this here. How about that? That'll
Get
help.
the idea. I was browsing Twitch and came across this stream. I by Cal Scattergoes. It gave me an idea that could possibly help retainability of our accounts. Whatever that sentence says. As someone who recently leveled their first character to 50, so congratulations, Mythic Gamer, on Reddit.
Yay.
I can say the big gripe around new players is an underpopulated looking world. And a lack of dungeon adventure times. Queues. Yes, that's something we all know. I challenge the community to make a new character, whatever character you want, and while leveling, do the following guidelines. 1. Read every quest so you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. 2. Watch every cutscene. That one's easy to do, there's not a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a little more in the Defile Drop Proto Games Initiative, but that's fine. 3. Read every lore book of Data Cube. That won't be a fun challenge. And for those of you who are only listening, Indigo is just
shaking his head madly. He's just, nope. It's not
like
going to happen.
Like, eat food, you're like, open up, like,
Have some lore.
Oh, wow, I just shook my head there a lot. 4, or the 4 or 5. Complete every challenge. Complete every challenge would be kind of rough. I don't know if that falls under lore, though. I think it's more of an optional...
Some of them are lore-ish. Like, there's that one where you have to help that scientist test out her little cannon. That's lore-ish. Like, there's a story behind it, at least. It's not just like, collect these things because I want you to.
The next two, that one and the next one, is kind of more of a get people to get back into queuing. You know, queue for all adventures and dungeons.
Level appropriate.
Level appropriate. Ooh, level appropriate. Interesting.
Yeah.
He says, quote, or she says, quote, I know I, for one, have always been largely ignored lore in games and rushed to get to the end game and start a new sweet rating. I think we have a responsibility to try and help the budding population grow so we can have more of those sweet end game raiders. So if anyone's up for taking the challenge, we'll put the link in our chat, the Lore Horde Challenge. I think this is kind of cool. It's actually really good if you stream it too. We kind of have a gist of what happens throughout these zones and these storylines and what we're going through, but if you take the time and if you enjoy it, there's a lot of cool extra stuff, especially in the books. The books really tend to flesh out minor characters that you'll never really see, or you just completely run past. Some of them you do on the way to a quest, like if you're doing Celestion, you end up getting this RN back her stuffed teddy bear, and you find out the teddy bear is like this epic badass character. Or God, you see like the Protostar employee who's slowly regaining their own personality back, and they add kind of little depths and pieces to it. So I wonder what other little pieces we've missed of lore out there. And if you take the Lore Horde Challenge, give it a shot.
Yeah, because I'm not going to.
I kind of did, actually. At least I started to until today.
Okay. Well,
why are you getting... Why does that upset you, Indigo?
Because
Because I'm about to pass you on my warrior. That's why.
Yeah, but I have had a fulfilling, enlightening, rich experience in the world of WildStar, and you're a dick.
Here's where I shoot that down, because I do that as well. But I have at least one other character at 50.
But your job entails you to play WildStar. Mine does
doesn't.
not. Yeah, you do. You just sit at your desk and play WildStar. It's all you do. Not that you work for the company. You wish, but you don't. You just sit at your desk and play WildStar because you fucking can until, like, a server breaks. And you're like, oh, no.
Then I fix it. And then when I look to go up to more work, then I guess I have nothing else to do.
And then you play WildStar.
Why not?
Well, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't have that luxury. Unfortunately.
So,
because I don't have a
especially for some people that are really resistant to looking at the lore and wondering why are we killing people that are bird people, give it a shot. I always recommend going back into the lore. And going off on a tangent, on my trek down the mountain, in my continuous pit stops down the mountain, I had a few podcasts that were saved to my phone and ready to go, one of which being the most recent Wildcast episode. And Aviguru and Behalter had mentioned us by name last week and talking about how goddamn boring must it be being someone who's interested in the world and characters and life and blood and all this crazy cool shit in Ballstar, only to be neglected by two plebes.
Plebes? What's a plebe?
I'm adding that word in there. Go look it up.
What's a plebe? Indigo?
What I'm saying is, I deserve better, damn it.
Indigo. Indigo, help. Words. What are words?
It's an insult basically saying that he's stuck with two numbskulls.
Oh.
While numbskulls would be a better word to use. You've got this person who loves art and beauty and everything wonderful in the world, and we're just like, fight, kill, do things, awesome, yay.
Well, you know what, Behalter and Aviguru? I hate
fuck you.
Go fuck yourselves.
In a very polite way. We do talk to Avid Guru and Behalter. They're awesome guys, so it's out of love.
That was the same fuck you that I give Indigo. It's purely from a place of love and respect.
It is. Wildcats had a most recent most. My God, what the hell happened there?
Oh my God!
What
the hell just happened?
Well, looks like Doc is dead, so we are now accepting submissions for a new leader of the STOS podcast.
Yep.
If you'd like to submit your paperwork, please send them to stos@qtimes.com. I'm going to go call a hospital so that Doc can... Oh, he's back! He's back!
What the hell happened?
Okay.
I don't understand what just happened to me.
Neither
Can I just tell you that I enjoyed that you asked for a replacement before you thought about calling the hospital?
Gotta get my priorities, dude. So that's where my priorities lie. Can you take your headphones off again really quick? No, all the way off. Nope, not around your neck, just all the way off. Great, now keep them that way. Indigo, how are you? You want to move on to the next thing? Oh, you can?
I have good headphones. I can still hear you.
Well, shoot.
Anyway, I was just mentioning that there are other people out there in this world who also like killing things, but also enjoying what things drop off them and read.
I'm sure they do.
Hell, you know what? Maybe I'll take them up on their offer and go on to Wildcast in a future show, just to freaking talk to people that like things like I do.
You should.
Hold on. I told you this already. I like listening to the data cubes. I like watching the cutscenes. I like playing the game. I just don't want to break my immersion in the world by stopping and reading fucking novel.
Can I just tell you about breaking immersion in the world? I may have talked about this on the show already, but maybe not. Around the beginning of launch, Indigo and I were playing together, and we ran across this data cube, and we clicked on it, and it was Stephen Frost's voice, just straight up Stephen Frost, not doing LOP, just Stephen Frost's voice. And it said, "This data cube doesn't have VO yet. Check back later." And we're just like,
it's like when people have like a block with a face on it.
Just laughing. It was the funniest data cube ever, and it's to this day my favorite data cube. And it now I think has VO now.
Where was that? I'm just curious.
I don't remember at all.
It was Dominion area, I remember. I think it was never mind. I think I can visually place where it is.
I can too. It was like a final encounter of a zone, and it was like these summoners and then a giant elemental, and then the data cube was like behind the summoners, and then you go there and it was just like, there's no VO yet. It's just really funny.
Well, I'm going to pass this last one off to you guys for the week, and then I want to talk about something real fast that kind of popped up in chat, because it's a very interesting topic to talk about. Well, what is the amazing jump glitch?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, the amazing jump glitch, and Krug, could you please post this in...
I certainly will, sir.
So, there has been an individual, his name is Mo Pork. Yes, that is his name. That when you go up against a wall, and when you jump up against the wall and also strafe at the same time, it actually kind of glitches you onto the wall just for a brief second, and you're able to jump. So what it looks like is that you're actually like jumping up the wall like ninja style and then jumping back away from the wall. So he actually built this whole entire like park in his house that does all of like the different like from the very basics of jumping to like double jumping to like jumping on platforms to doing this really awesome like sideways jump, and it gets him fucking far because you can
it's like mount length, like sprinting on a mount, but he's not on a
really
mount. Yeah, it's really far. You watch the video after we're done. It's
yeah. and he can jump and then double jump from that point because it resets your jump. So it's really, really awesome. You watch the video. It's really cool. I saw it, and Krug immediately went, "Nope, supposed to happen."
Working as intended.
It's a glitch. It is a total glitch.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
It's not. It's technically not breaking anything in the game because he's just. It's in his house, right?
Is it though? Oh, I'm not sure if it works outside of his house or not. I'm sure it does, though.
So what he says is it works on any housing plot. He does say that it does. He hasn't tested it completely, but it does work on housing items outside the world. So stuff that like walls and stuff like that.
That was made with housing block items. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It does work. So again, it's not really like super game changing. I don't think it works in PvP at all. So it's not like it's going to affect, which by the way, after seeing this happen, it needs to be a real thing, because it would make PvP epic. And like if they added an animation, so like
you just seen like wall jumping fights, like fucking midair ninja crouching tiger hidden dragon fights.
They add an animation to it for spell slingers so that if they're shooting
like
and they jump,
run?
they like
John Woo.
They flip in the air as they're still shooting, so they're upside down, just like choo, 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 choo.
Like part Matrix.
Can you
part
do that one more time?
John Woo, which is dubs falling.
Choo, 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 choo.
For those that were listening, that was him like flying across the screen with the dubs and explosions in the background happening.
Like the Matrix. Basically, we're talking about a jump like in the Matrix.
That sounds pretty cool.
I think it would be really awesome if it became something that continued on through the game.
I don't see it being a big deal in the game if it was able to happen in the open world, because most of the open world can be traversed in some way, shape, or form anyway, and there's nothing that's been blocked off by an invisible wall, really.
No.
Except for zones that aren't ready yet.
Yes. Yeah, you're correct. And I mean, it jumps you away from stuff. It doesn't necessarily get you higher up in the air. In fact, when you jump off the wall, it like sends you down to the ground like really, really quickly. So you have to like double jump, and it gets you far, but it doesn't go up at all. It takes you down towards the ground.
Yeah, it's horizontal movement, not vertical movement.
So it would be very, very difficult for you to get to a higher location based off of this, unless you like. He shows you. Just watch the video. It's awesome. He did a really cool little short, like 5-minute video on it and his house. It's really cool.
Highly recommend.
And just to elaborate before we go into a discussion that just kind of popped up in chat, we mentioned it a little earlier with the whole thing about a hotfix versus a patch, and if it's considered part of a drop content. There's talk about the PvP changes that were being rumored and being tested on PTR. They're possibly being pushed to live. This coming Tuesday, which would be what, the March 3rd?
Yes.
Yeah, March 3rd.
Yes. So the rumor was, and it was posted on the forums, that they're shooting for 2 weeks, and this was last week that they posted this, or a week and a half ago. So theoretically, if it's with that still same timeline, that would make it this Tuesday that it came out. If not, it's still planned to come out way before the next drop, which is hugely awesome. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, were you looking to put a different word there? Or
yeah.
You were just like...
Yeah, he messed that up.
No, hugely awesome.
All right, looks like we need to redo this
episode.
We should start over from the beginning.
Right.
Just gonna switch.
To Strange from Outer Space, episode 34.
Hey, at least you got that one right this time.
Oh, sick burn.
I got here all right. It's all that matters. How would you have done this without me?
Like this. Ready? Boom.
Okay, I'm listening.
I put up the dock is late thing. I keep forgetting you can't see it.
Anyway, before we close out the podcast tonight, I wanted to kind of talk about this subject a little more. Also came up during our live stream today, right now. When we were talking about the whole idea of like trash talking and restrictions on chats in this game and other games, there's a little bit of discussion, and it got close to a little bit heated where we might have to intervene, but luckily all parties were kind of really cool about it. But posting points of both parts was the idea of trash talk, and where is there a line, and where does a line get drawn? And it's by its very nature, trash talk it just kind of follows a game that has any kind of competitive scene to it or any kind of competitive aspects.
I'm going to disagree with that a little bit.
Well, that's some people would agree with that, and I actually kind of agree that trash talk does end up following in any time there is a competitive aspect to a game.
I just think trash talk appears whenever you have a game, like period. Like anything. Like if you have 4 people playing 2 different games of solitaire, like trash talk immediately.
How would you trash talk in solitaire?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
If you're playing The Sims with somebody,
I'm going to go even further.
The Sims?
If you have one person like drawing in MS Paint and someone else watching them, which is like the loosest interpretation of a game possible, drawing in MS Paint, they're going to be getting trash talked. Hands down. Like anytime someone's doing something and someone else is there to watch them do it, trash talk.
I'll tell you how you trash talk in The Sims. Krug's caught himself on fire twice, and I've only caught myself fire on once. Pew pew pew!
I'm pretty sure once you catch yourself on fire, the quantity doesn't matter. That's just like the be-all end-all of stupid.
But in our Sims case, we added a competitive aspect, and we decided who was going to die first.
Yeah, and that you don't think that happens
the
in
game
all
intrinsic
style?
It happens in every game.
A competitive aspect. If anything, has a cooperative aspect.
Eclipse made a good point in that faction boundaries don't affect trash talk. That's not how trash talking works. Like an Exile will trash talk an Exile all day. It doesn't matter. Especially in PvP. Like if I'm sucking in PvP, my team's gonna tell me over and over again until the match is over.
Yes, but that is in a competitive atmosphere. You are working towards a goal to compete against somebody, and people are going to start complaining when someone on the team isn't pulling their weight.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is like the.
But originally you were saying that trash talking is just intrinsic in gaming in general.
Oh yeah, I still stand by that, and I mean, but I'm not going to really go through the effort of like backing that up. It doesn't really relate to what we're talking about.
What? You're gonna throw a point out there, say I have no proof, I have no backup, but that's just
no.
the case.
No. I get what he's saying. What he's saying is that he made the statement of saying that in games in general, he's making a general statement that gaming in general, there's going to be some sort of competitive trash talking in there, and you brought up solitaire, and that's a very good example of a not trash talking. But Uno, games where
Uno's competitive.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is that gaming in general usually is a very competitive thing. That's why the whole gaming live streaming exists, because it's a competitive market. People enjoy watching people compete against things. You know, it brings us back to gladiators. He's making a very generalized statement.
I am.
He's not legitimately saying solitaire is a trash talking game.
No,
he's just saying in games in general.
It's
using
a general
the literary
statement that I
device
just
of hyperbole.
don't agree with. If the game has a competitive aspect, trash talking does follow. But then the question there is, we're talking about trash talking. Is there a line between what you consider trash talking and then shit talking, like you're being volatile to somebody, or is it all the same thing? Because some people believe that because of the competitive aspect of something, like say Counter-Strike Go or WildStar PvP or Diablo speedruns, that the line between a friendly trash talk and then, you know, stuff I'm not going to repeat because it's offensive to somebody to a massive degree, it should all exist, and if you don't have the thick skin for it, you shouldn't be there. I think it's similar to real life. Like if I tell Indigo, hey, you're bad at WildStar, go fuck yourself, uninstall the game, he's gonna be like, heh, and make fun of me back. It's the way we talk. We've known each other for a long time, and it's acceptable because we've known each other for a long time, and we know the boundaries. Okay. So there's a familiarity there, but
but there's a difference when it comes to people you don't know and whose boundaries you don't understand. And it's I guess now that I'm saying it out loud, the difference is taking the time to explore the boundaries instead of just jumping beyond where they normally lie. So, for example, if you're in a game with someone, you don't jump to, hey, go fuck yourself, you suck, and expect them to take it in the same way that somebody you know would take it, because how can you expect that from them? That's a really mean thing to say. But if you say, hey, I don't think you're doing that well, and they're like, oh, what do you think I can do to improve? And then you kind of have a dialogue about it. You get to know them. You learn where the boundaries are. Then you can say, hey, you're doing poorly. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, taking time to figure out where that person's boundaries are is really all it takes for the
True.
difference between trash talking and making fun of someone.
That's
But
true,
you can't do that in a game that's like a smite match. Could you imagine doing that within the boundaries of a single smite match?
And
No.
I think that's what kind of lends games towards trash talking, is that it's really hard to kind of get that connection with people. And some people are good at it. Some people can, like, you know, I've had situations like that where someone in Smite was on what's that called, the curse client, where we're talking over the thingy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, hey, you should probably get this item. It's really helpful. And I'm like, oh wow, that does look really helpful. And
Now,
we've,
but
you know, kind of
that's not
played
any kind
more
of trash
games
talking,
together.
though. It's more like, say you're in Tiki Temple, like Baz and I, when we had our little match on live stream, we were trash talking each other. We weren't shit talking. We were just trash talking. Like, ha, you can't stun me for crap. Look at that. Aha, you can't do this and do that. There wasn't any constructive to it afterwards. We didn't talk about it afterwards.
Yeah,
but we did know each other. But what I'm also saying is, what if, because of the competitive nature of these games, and you don't ever create a rapport, you're just in a temple, Tiki Temple, for 15 minutes, doing 7 or 8 games, and you see just straight up trash talking, is there a line between simply saying, ha, Chua can't hit the broadside of a barn, to,
Are you trying to think of something rude? Do you need me to go to help you?
I had a few things in my head about just straight up shit talking that I cannot in good faith say. I personally believe there's a line. You can totally fuck with somebody. You can trash talk till the cows come home. It's a lot of it's very superficially based, and most players have a good enough skin on them, male, female, whoever, where they can go, okay, he's trying to get me off my game, or she's trying to rile me up to make a mistake, so they can capitalize on it. But when they're going at you, they're going at specific parts of whatever orientation or family member or something else to throw you off. Now you're going into a category that, and a field that I don't believe needs to be there. Some players would defend the fact that, oh, this is all on the same level. This is a psychological warfare game, and if you can't handle it, go home.
I can't agree with you, or I can't agree with that statement at all. Not you specifically. My honest to God opinion is that trash talking, in any sense of the word, doesn't belong in gaming unless it's between friends.
Yep. Okay. That's right.
And like, for example, in Smite, we will play Smite, and I will get immensely frustrated with my team. And I will yell and I will scream, but I do not once go into chat and say, you are our blah, blah, blah. You are X, Y, and Z. I don't do that. What I will do is, if someone's trash talking me and they screw up, I go, well, guess I'm not that bad. Like, I'll be a smart ass about it.
That is a little trash talky.
Yeah,
well, but it's defensive, though. If he, like, Indigo's saying that because he started saying that. So he's set the boundaries there. If somebody's going to come up to me and say, hey, go fuck yourself, you're a piece of shit, and then he does something wrong, and I say, oh, looks like you're fucking terrible, and he gets offended, no, he doesn't have the right to be offended at that point. He started that interaction that way, and so if I respond that way, his fault completely.
That's fine.
Once you participate, you lose your right to complain, 100%.
That is true. I have no problem if I'm playing League or even WildStar and I hear someone, just trash talking, not shit talking, but then starting to rage. I have no problem trolling them and just messing with them and saying and just trash talking, like, looks like you couldn't get that blind. How's that respawn timer doing for you, buddy? Well, that's happening. We'll take this flag and we're gonna go cap it. Bye bye.
And I will say, when I'm in that situation, I do try to be like, hey, can you calm down, or like, stop that. Could you stop? Like, stuff like that usually comes first, but then once they keep going, it's like, okay, we're gonna have a troll war now. That's fine. Or mute button, which is what Eclipse was saying earlier. That's the best way to stop that kind of thing, is just mute button, ignore, make it so they can't even do it, and then it's like out of sight, out of mind. It doesn't even mean anything anymore because you can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the thing, is that still perpetuates the action of talking shit is still acceptable, which in my opinion isn't. I mean, going into games and someone being a bad player at that game, first of all, you have no idea what's going on in their life or what's going on right now. It could be for the negative, it could be for the positive. The person could be receiving oral sex while playing. I'm not going to tell that man or that woman to
someone's winning either way in that case.
You know what? They are winning in that situation. All right, they win. They just win. I just can't do anything about that.
I mean, granted, they're like 8-4, but
but this is
I like
the
how
thing.
you said O, because it's like like the O face, but it's like 8-4, but it's like the O face.
It's only funny if you don't point it out.
Oh.
But what I'm saying is that I don't necessarily feel that trash talking is acceptable. Again, unless you are a part of a team, if you are friends and you're working together and that you know each other. Because again, like Krug says, I know Krug's boundaries. I know Doc's boundaries. I know where I can step and where and when to specifically step over the line. So the thing is that that's not acceptable in games. Today I had a game where I was playing Smite just to blow some steam off. I was playing. This one guy's like, I'm gonna report you. I'm gonna report you. I kept asking, I was like, could you tell me what I'm doing that is making you so upset? Like, why are you so angry? Like, and they just wouldn't give me a legitimate response, and they were just furious and angry at me. And I'm like, I'm trying to have fun. I'm enjoying this game. And then afterwards, in the after chat, you realize that, like, everyone was on my side. It was really funny because after a Smite game, both teams are on the same side, and
both teams are in the same chat room.
Yeah, I wrote GG, and they wrote GG, and then they were like, "I'm reporting the character I was playing." I don't remember who I was playing, and I go, "Why? Or what for?" And then someone else goes, "Why? What for?" And the other person's like, "Why?" Like, everyone's like, "What'd they do?" Like, I'm confused of what they did. And it wasn't like I went 0-8-0. Like, it wasn't even that bad. Like, I had kills. I died a few times. Yeah, I think it was 4, 6, and then 12 was my score. All right. That's not horrible, but yeah, we lost. And everyone's like, I was like, was I that bad? And they're like, nah.
Guy had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, everyone in the chat was just like, dude, just have fun. Like, I'm confused why you're just being such an asshole.
Yeah, and it's people like that take it really seriously kind of cause half the problem. Like, they're the people that just troll for the sake of trolling, and that's its own problem. And then there are people that, like, treat it like life or death, and they're like, "Oh, you're not doing good enough, and I'm gonna make you feel bad for it." And just,
it happens in every game. I was really curious. I know
me alone, man.
Chat was discussing it, and everyone that's talking about it brought up some good points. I just was curious about you guys' opinions on it, because I have a large family, and we play games like WildStar. Even when my brother and I will play together or play opposite, trash talking happens, and even if we're familiar or not, I like kind of goading.
You and your brother are very familiar. I'm just throwing that one out there.
That's true. But even like every once in a blue moon, when I'm playing a Wall Tiki match or something, I might throw out something completely innocuous, but it's trash talk. It's me trying to give my side bravado, and showing we are better than you. Ha ha ha! Try and catch us. Blah blah blah. You miss. Ha ha ha! You're dead. Ha ha. But then,
that's not insulting though.
It's like, not insulting. What I'm saying is there. Some people claim that there is no difference between trash talking and then what I'm considering shit talking, like verbal abuse. They say it's one and the same, and I'm trying to figure out. Obviously, no, we don't share that idea, but maybe there's a kernel of truth in it, or it really is like, look, no, you can play with somebody and mess with them and troll them a little bit as long as it's not a personal thing. But once you get into verbal abuse and personal attacking, you're just trashy. It's bull.
Yeah.
Can I tell you how much I imagine you in Walatiki, like you're playing your character and you're like running around like, you can't catch me, and I'm just imagining you like punch a girl that you like and you're like, you can't get me, and, like running around, you're like,
I do that. Like, if they're not in the same temple, if they're not in the same queue as I am, and I get like dagger zone, they'll hear me giggle or something, or they'll hear me like say something like, I can't catch me, and like, what are you doing? Oh, I just escaped death because these guys can't fucking hit shit for shit.
Hit shit for shit. Awesome.
Yep. That works.
I think that is a great place to end tonight's podcast. Is you can't hit shit for shit.
That sounds like a good title.
We can't put it on anything.
There's gonna be a ton of asterisks.
It can't ...
Anyway, if you listen to this on the live stream, or if you're listening to the YouTube video, or if you're listening to the podcast streams.
If you're receiving it via Morse code somehow.
Your carrier pigeon finally came on time.
Smoke signals.
Yeah. Let us know what your opinion on this subject is. And it's not really... We have a view on it. Maybe we're wrong or right. Some people just have different views on it. This is just ours, that where there's a level to it, and there's a line that gets crossed, and there's an issue. But let us know what you think about it. You can always find us at qtimes.com, and we put the podcast up every Tuesday afternoon. We do the video cast up every Monday afternoon-ish. And Indigo, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at IndigoJonesQT. You can also find me on our Q Times Twitter account as well, which is _Q Times. I also run our Facebook channel, which is Q Times Gaming, actually. And our website in general. Krug, where can we find you?
I am Krug. You can find me on Twitter. That's at strange_tales would be my Twitter handle. On Reddit, STOS_Krug. And by email, which is my favorite way of communicating if you'd like to get in touch, which is Krug, CROOG, just like this right here, at qtimes.com. That's QUEUETIMES.com, as it is spelled right there. QUEUETIMES.com, as in com. I actually don't know what com stands for. What about you, Doc? Where can we find you?
I was going to explain that. I realized we're running late on time. You can find me. The best way to get a hold of me is through Reddit. I am at HollowMosh. I do it every Tuesday. I put stuff on there. And on Twitter, you can find me at DocQT. As for Strange Tales episode number 34, I am Doc, and as always, I have with me Indigo.
Bye.
And Krug.
Bye!
Everyone have a good night.